Jeopardy! Host Mayim Bialik has opened up about suffering from a debilitating mental disorder in a new video. The video was taken from the Big Bang Theory star's Bialik Breakdown podcast and shared on Instagram Monday. The show has a tagline of a podcast breaking down mental health so you don't have to, and during its most recent episode, Mayim, 47, detailed the characteristics of obsessive-compulsive disorder. The Jeopardy! Host described, "What a lot of people don't know about obsessive-compulsive disorder is it's not just about liking your shoes neat." She continued, "What a lot of people sort of mistake colloquially is, I like to have things this way. I'm OCD." The neuroscientist went on to explain that OCD is a diagnosis that requires both obsessions and compulsions, and the obsessions are the things that we think about or ruminate on. The compulsions are typically actions that are done to expel the anxiety from the obsessions. As the Mayo Clinic defines, obsessive-compulsive disorder, OCD, features a pattern of unwanted thoughts and fears, obsessions, that lead you to do repetitive behaviors, compulsions. These obsessions and compulsions interfere with daily activities and cause significant distress. Mayim then concluded, "The obsession is the internalizing aspect and the compulsion is the externalizing aspect." Fans of the Blossom actress rushed to post's comments section to thank Mayim for explaining the disorder. One person wrote, "Totally. Too many people throw OCD around like it's a joke term. It's severely debilitating." A second fan commented, "Lifelong struggle with checking and counting behaviors here. Thank you for bringing more awareness to diagnosed OCD. Thank you for this." The abbreviation OCD gets thrown around a lot by people who need to normalize their mildly eccentric behaviors, not understanding who or what they are minimizing, added another. While a fourth commenter mentioned, "Yes. It's a terrible anxiety disorder and it's not fun. Too many people use OCD as an adjective." In a YouTube video for the Child Mind Institute, Mayim opened up about her own struggles with OCD in a video titled, "Obsessive-Compulsive Disorder and What I Would Tell #My Younger Self." In the recording, the 47-year-old explained, "I grew up with and still have obsessive-compulsive disorder." She continued, "One of the things that made my life really difficult was trying new things, and it's still really hard for me." Mayim voiced, "What I found is that, with trusting other people and learning to trust other people and lean on them for support, you can make changes and still be okay." The game show host concluded by stating, "Change is possible, change can be good, and even when it's scary, it's okay." Birthday bedhead. Last week, Mayim showed off her natural bedhead in a new video that left fans doing a daily double take. While celebrating her 47th birthday and revealing an intimate glimpse at her home, followers spotted an odd item on her ceiling. Mayim celebrated the Big 4-7 on Monday, thanking her followers for the love in her candid front-facing Instagram video. The typically glammed-up host was instead makeup-free as her big day was starting. Her cropped brown hair, which is usually straightened, flew free in large waves around her head as she sported a casual Yankees baseball shirt. "Thank you for your birthday wishes, which have already started coming in. I really appreciate it," the TV star began. "I am heading to work, on the sitcom Call Me Kat, and I look like this in the morning, no filter." Mayim shouted out her boyfriend Jonathan Cohen, saying she might show off the insane gift later on after filming. "You're so pretty. Happy birthday." One simply gushed. Others poured over Mayim's makeup-free look, but some couldn't get past the strange item hanging above her. "What is on the ceiling? Happy birthday," another follower commented. "I have the same question," wrote a third on what looked to be a broken AC unit. "Made me look. There are two things going on. 1. A shadow of something. 2. A vent," claimed a fourth. "I'm wondering the same thing," wrote a mystified fifth fan. Double Jeopardy. Mayim's sitcom Call Me Kat halted filming in October after the sudden passing of Leslie Jordan, who co-starred with her on the show. Leslie died in a car accident on his way to film their show, per TMZ. Mayim tearfully revealed in a recent TikTok, "We didn't know it at the time that this was Leslie's last episode," she said. "I couldn't bring myself to watch it because I'm not ready. That week was so incredibly special because of our dialogue coach, Ren Bell, directing for the first time, and just how much fun we had." Over the summer, Mayim and Ken Jennings, 48, were announced as the permanent replacements for the late, great Alex Trebek, who passed away in 2020 at age 80. More positively, Mayim is switching in for Ken in January and is set to host their first ever high school reunion tournament, airing in February. A group of students specifically from the Season 35 high school tournament are returning now that they're back in college and duking it out for $100,000 and a Tournament of Champions slot. The primetime spin-off Celebrity Jeopardy! Is also resuming in the new year, so Mayim will be hosting that special on Thursdays as well as the regularly airing show. In a heartfelt and deeply personal video posted to her social media platforms this week, Jeopardy! Host and neuroscientist Mayim Bialik broke her silence about a mental health battle she's been privately facing for years, sending shockwaves through the fan base of the beloved game show and sparking an outpouring of support online. With the caption "I've hidden this long enough," the Emmy-nominated actress and TV personality appeared somber but resolute in the 10-minute clip, revealing that she has been living with obsessive-compulsive disorder, OCD, a condition that she described as both invisible and overwhelming. "I thought I could manage it alone." Dressed casually and speaking directly into the camera, Bialik said she had struggled with the idea of coming forward publicly. "There's this enormous pressure to be polished, perfect, in control, especially when you're the face of something as iconic as Jeopardy!" she explained. "But behind the lights, behind the podium, there are days where my mind feels like a war zone." The actress, known for her roles on Blossom and The Big Bang Theory, admitted that she had been experiencing intrusive thoughts, compulsions, and repetitive rituals since her late teens, but only received a formal diagnosis in her early 30s. "I used to wash my hands until they bled," she shared quietly. "I'd check the stove knobs 3, 4, 5 times before I could leave the house. I told myself it was just anxiety. But it wasn't. It was something deeper, something that took over my life. Even as a neuroscientist, I couldn't think my way out." In a poignant twist, Bialik, who holds a PhD in neuroscience from UCLA, touched on the internal shame she felt because of her academic background. "People assume if you study the brain, you should be able to master your own. But that's not how it works. Mental illness doesn't discriminate," she said. "Even as someone who understands the mechanisms behind OCD, I couldn't logic myself out of the compulsions." She described long filming days for Jeopardy! Where she would be smiling on set, making jokes with contestants and contestants' families, only to retreat to her dressing room afterward and collapse into tears from the overwhelming mental fatigue. "I would get stuck in loops, mentally reviewing every line I said, every tone I used. Was I too abrupt? Did I pronounce that clue wrong? Did I offend someone? I'd replay things in my head until 3 a.m., she confessed. Why she chose to speak out now. Bialik explained that the tipping point came earlier this summer, during the show's off-season. After experiencing what she called a particularly dark period, she began attending a new type of cognitive behavioral therapy called ERP, exposure and response prevention, which is considered the gold standard for OCD treatment. "I finally started to see glimmers of freedom," she said, her voice cracking slightly. "Freedom from the rituals, from the shame. And I realized, if even one person hears this and feels seen, then it's worth the risk of being vulnerable." She credited her close circle of friends, her children, and a small but loyal online support group for giving her the courage to go public. The fan reaction: "You're not alone, Mayim." Within hours of posting the video, Bialik's comment sections were flooded with support. Jeopardy! Fans, fellow celebrities, mental health advocates, and even former contestants shared messages of admiration and empathy. "Thank you for being brave enough to speak out. My daughter has OCD and seeing someone like you say this means the world," wrote one user. "You are an inspiration not just as a scientist and actress, but as a human being," added another. The National Alliance on Mental Illness, NAMI, also released a statement commending Bialik for shining a light on the realities of living with OCD and using her platform to reduce the stigma surrounding mental illness. Jeopardy! Responds, "We stand with Mayim." The official Jeopardy! Account released a statement later that day, reaffirming their support for Bialik. "We're proud of Mayim for sharing her truth with such grace and honesty. Mental health matters, on and off the stage. The Jeopardy! Family stands behind her 100%. Ken Jennings, her co-host and friend, also posted, "Mayim is one of the strongest people I know. Proud to work alongside her and even prouder to call her a friend. Healing is ongoing. It's not linear." Toward the end of her video, Bialik offered words of hope to anyone who might be struggling. "There's no magical cure, and I still have tough days," she said. "But I've learned to live with this disorder instead of letting it define me. Therapy helps. Medication helps. Talking helps." In a quiet moment that resonated with thousands, she added, "I used to think my mind was my enemy. Now, I'm learning to see it as a part of me that needs patience and compassion. What's next for Mayim? According to sources close to the show, Bialik remains committed to her hosting duties and has no intention of stepping away from Jeopardy. In fact, she is reportedly working on a new podcast episode dedicated to OCD awareness, featuring clinical experts and personal stories from fans. She's also partnering with a non-profit organization to launch a mental health initiative aimed at educators and parents, to help them better understand early signs of OCD in children and teens. Sharing this was terrifying, Bialik said. But if it helps even one person feel less alone, then it's one of the most important things I've ever done. A conversation that's just beginning. In a world where public figures often shy away from showing vulnerability, Mayim Bialik's courage to speak about her internal battles may prove to be a turning point in how we view mental health, especially in high-achieving, intellectual circles. As one fan put it best, Mayim showed us that even the smartest minds can wrestle with the darkest thoughts, and that healing is possible when we stop hiding. Mayim Bialik's journey is still unfolding. But for now, she has taken a powerful step forward, not just for herself, but for the millions living in silence.